I think my exposure to different methodologies and different design approaches and ways of thinking and ways of researching has 100% informed my artistic and curatorial practice, and as a result, my PhD. But I think, and the other way around, like the creative practice has informed the way in which I approach lecturing and the way in which I approach teaching and facilitating and mentoring as well. And the way in which I would approach a project just in general. So yeah.
Sure. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I'm quite intrigued how you say vice versa.
Yeah, I think a creative practice has almost no limitations often. And I think what the digital space has afforded me is limitations and constraints within my own practice. So I think that's why I love the internet so much, because it's just the internet, it's just that space, but it's also so much within that space. It's so broad, and it could be so much within an artistic practice. I think understanding, initially I learned how to code a website and how to develop a website, but then I moved towards, okay, cool, now we have to design this. Designing and UX obviously plays a huge role. So having all of these tools informs how you would approach building a website as an artwork, or building a interactive online installation as an artwork. And I mean, they're all things that need to be usable. Designing an experience is something that needs to be considered, but a creative practice allows for more movement within that space sometimes. So I think that's quite nice. Whereas often when you're working in a more corporate agency space within designing a product, the constraints are very specific, focused on your client, it's very, the parameters are very tightly often delineated for you. But within a creative practice, there's a little bit more freedom there, but within those limitations as well. I don't know if that sort of answers or expands a little bit on it more. But I think, so allowing myself to use those constraints of a research process has enabled my artistic practice to move in certain directions. But then also, so leveraging off of both, leaning more into a creative and open space and allowing for more moments of what if versus it being a little bit more rigid and structured, as it would.